Hello.
Hi.
We are starting
We are starting
another week. 3 more movies, was it?
3 more, yes. 1 new 2026 release and 2 1990 releases.
Feels like we're in a stretch where there's not a ton of new material coming out right now. What do you think?
I think so. We're in the post-Oscars lull right before the summer box office boom.
Now, my big anticipated movie for the year is probably Dune 3. What is yours? Do you have a anticipated movie for 2026?
I guess the one I'm currently most excited about is Jane Schoenbrun's new movie with Hannah Einbinder.
Yes, Camp
Teenage
Miasma.
Sex and Death at Camp Miasma.
What
Yeah.
a title, love it.
It's premiering at the Cannes Film Festival, so we should be getting reviews for that in the coming weeks.
Okay, great.
But it's not going to come out for us normies until October, so I'm really excited for that one.
Hey, that's right. I'll try to remain unspoiled.
Exactly.
Where do you want to start this week? 90s movies or our new one?
Let's start with our new release,
Okay.
since we watched that one first. We watched Toe,
Yes.
starring Rose Byrne,
Yes.
Oscar nominee Rose Byrne.
Maybe one day Oscar winner Rose Byrne. I think she is well due.
I agree. It's really surprising this was her first nomination this year for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You.
Yes.
Because she's been
really knocking it out.
churning out great performances for over a decade at least.
Easily.
Multiple, probably.
I will say every time you say the title Toe, as in like, it's like tow truck.
Yeah.
It makes me think of a certain scene in the newest season of Euphoria that we just watched involving a toe. It just makes me cringe every time and laugh, but also cringe.
See, it makes me think of the scene in Twinless.
Oh, interesting. We're both sick in our own ways.
Exactly, but no, it is TOW. You're right, like a tow truck.
Do you recall what city this was taking place in? Where were we?
They were in Seattle, weren't
Was
they?
Seattle? Yeah, that's it. We have Rose Byrne is living out of her car in Seattle.
Yes, and she has this kind of estranged relationship with her daughter. It's made very clear it seems like they're just kind of trying to get back to having a relationship after maybe an issue went down with Rose Byrne's addictions.
Yeah, sobriety had been an issue before, but it seems like at the start of the movie she's doing a lot better and kind of trying to get her stuff together.
Yeah, and she's trying to find a job. She is really into animals. She has a degree.
Right, she was applying to be a groomer, I think.
Yes, that's the job she ended up getting. And they say that as long as she has a car, they'll give her a chance. She's the one who can go pick up the dogs and bring them back to be groomed. A job that sounds like you would enjoy very much.
I don't think I would want a bunch of random dogs in my own car, but like, hey, give me a company car. Give me the company van to cruise around in. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Like any job worth working for would provide you with a car during working hours to do that, you know?
At any rate, yes, she is living out of her car because it's expensive, especially in Seattle.
It's harder sometimes when people have dealt with addiction. You know, maybe they had to leave a job due to rehab or legal issues or something. And then it's so hard to find a job anyway. But then when you have a gap, or I don't think she had a criminal record.
I don't think so. Not that they mentioned.
But
I don't
if
think.
you do, that can come up as well. The system just doesn't make it very easy for people. And sometimes it feels like it's designed to make things harder for people who have made a mistake at any point in their life, you know?
Absolutely. And Rose Byrne's character doesn't even make any mistakes other than she gets her car stolen.
Exactly. Yeah, everything that's happened in her life was really before the events of the movie.
Yes.
The addiction, the torn familial relationship.
There's a
We
lot
don't
of back-
see any of that play
Yeah,
out.
there's a lot of history, a lot of backstory.
Yes. So when we do meet her, yeah, she's turning her life around. She's doing everything by the books as far as we can tell.
Living in her car, it was interesting to see that she was far from the only one in that area living in her car, to the point that there were people willing to like rent out or new rentable like cars to sleep in throughout the city on any given day. I thought that was interesting.
I thought the scene was interesting where she is sleeping in her car and this park cop, I believe, starts knocking at the window saying, "You can't sleep here," because, she's really hurting people and being a nuisance, just sleeping in her own car, not bothering anyone.
In an empty parking lot.
Come on now.
In the middle of the night. Yeah.
Exactly. So she ends up just driving away and avoiding a ticket, but it seemed like pretty soon after that, she got her car stolen. When her car wasn't there anymore, I had assumed at first that this guy had still written up the ticket and submitted it to the police or something, and her car got taken.
That's what I got as well, that you hear the security officer radioing in the license plate, and then just a few scenes later, her car's gone. I figured the tow truck just saw it and got it.
But no, someone had stolen it and taken it for a joyride.
And then it gets stuck at the tow shopper car impound run by the one dude from Scary Movie 3, whose name I forget.
You mean Simon Rex?
Simon Rex, absolutely.
Yeah, and he is portrayed as very sympathetic to Rose Byrne, but he's very much in a, well, my hands are tied situation. I can't give you your car back unless you pay the fees.
Right, that are building up every day.
Yeah, she gets added $50, I believe, every day that her car is held.
And she's at a point where she's like, it's $200 or some change to get her car out initially. And she's like, I don't have that kind of money.
It was $250 or something.
Yeah.
And then by the time she goes to court the first time, it's
like
around $1,200, I think.
Oh, it just kept growing and growing.
Yeah, and then by the end, it's just this insane amount.
I like that they showed the attorney guy. I think he was the attorney for the tow truck company, was basically just trying to avoid the issue at all possible and did not take it seriously.
Yeah, because, big companies, they probably get sued all the time. And instead of actually just going through the court process, they're trying to, especially when they know that what they've done is wrong.
Yeah.
They're just going to try to delay you in court because they have more money. It's weaponizing the court system.
Absolutely.
And trying to just burn the other person out of cash so they just give up.
To highlight how little this company and their lawyers cared, they failed to even show up for the first hearing. Rose Byrne wins back the rights to her car pretty quickly.
But then they've already sold the car.
And then are like, it's out of our hands now.
And then they try to put it on a shell company that is also owned by them. It's just all of this legal trickery.
A lot of red tape.
Rose Byrne meets Dominic Sessa from the Holdovers, who he seems like he just got out of law school. He's this scrappy, I just started, I'm very enthusiastic about my job kind of guy.
Very idealistic. But that's not a bad thing. He helps out Rose Byrne, I think, pro bono, I recall.
He does, yeah.
And he's representing a nonprofit that helps people almost in her exact situation.
Exactly. You can tell this guy really got into this to help people and for good reasons. Even though at first when he tells her that, he says, "You're the whole reason I went to law school, people like you." She obviously finds that very condescending.
Yeah.
She, up until the ending court scene, is very unwilling to admit that she doesn't want to use the word homeless.
Yes, very guarded.
She doesn't really want to accept maybe the realities of her situation, or maybe not even accept, but it's almost like she doesn't want to be grouped into that trauma. She doesn't want people to feel sorry for her the way people would feel sorry for someone who doesn't have a home,
Yeah, I feel like they mentioned it a couple times throughout the story, but they'll have characters talking about how they didn't realize how bad things have gotten before they start seeking help and assistance. And I think that's kind of on display here a little bit as well. I feel like if Rose Byrne had, like, there's a running theme throughout the movie where she's not giving her daughter as much information about her day to day because she doesn't want to tell her daughter she's homeless and has been living out of her car. The lengths she goes to try to fix things on her own.
Her trying to keep that from her daughter even ends up making her daughter think that she's back to her addiction.
Oh, absolutely.
When
yeah.
she isn't. But then, of course, when the daughter says, "You're a drunk, I don't want to be around you anymore," then she relapses.
She was having a bad day.
She was having a bad day. That is true. Because, yeah, in the movie, she didn't seem to have a sustained relapse.
No,
it was more portrayed as she's going through it and this is how she knows how to cope.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is what she's done. And she gets brought around pretty immediately because she's been staying at this shelter, which it's run out of a church, and Octavia Spencer runs it. I do like that they gave her a little bit more backstory. She also had addiction issues, used to have a high-paying job, but the addiction issues kind of ruined that. And then she was given a chance working with this shelter and now has found that is her calling.
We get that theme a couple times of characters giving others a chance, just kind of out of the goodness of their hearts a lot of times, to counteract a lot of the
kind of predatory behaviors of like the tow truck company and their lawyer and the
kind of lack of humanity.
One thing I will say though, I know it's run out of a church, but that shelter, they're really, really pushing the religion thing.
Yes.
Octavia Spencer tells Rose Byrne she's only allowed to come back after she got kicked out for drinking if she goes to the daily AA Bible study kind of thing. I have always hated how it seems like a lot of these addiction groups and programs like AA have this religious basis.
You can separate the two, I would figure.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't want to deal with that. A lot of people probably got into their addictions due to religious trauma. So it just seems like it's not casting the net to help the most people.
No, I get that, yeah. But overall, the shelter situation, Rose Byrne meets a lot of other women in similar circumstances. Demi Lovato's in this movie for some reason, and they give a really good singing performance at Christmas, but otherwise, I feel like that's all Demi Lovato was in here for, because they were not directed very well, let's say that. Was giving us nothing.
I loved Demi Lovato back in the Disney Channel days. Demi Lovato was my Disney Channel star of choice, so I wouldn't call Demi Lovato a bad actor.
No, still better than I am.
That scene when they were doing
they made Demi Lovato pregnant for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, she's at the ultrasound. Rose Byrne comes with her for some reason because they're besties now.
The delivery was very wooden. I will say, one thing that I thought was weird about that scene, the whole time Demi Lovato was talking, the editing was just focused on Rose Byrne's face. So I don't know if that little "I'm so scared" monologue was added in post as ADR.
Oh, it might have been.
Or if whoever was editing said, "We're not getting much emotion from what's going on here, so let's just focus on Rose Byrne."
But yeah, it's Demi Lovato going, "I am so scared. Is it boy or girl baby?" Essentially.
I will let them decide based. But yeah, I still love Demi Lovato. I was very pleased to see them.
Fair enough.
I do think it would have been interesting to see more from some of the other women in the shelter.
Right.
Because I did find those characters to be very compelling, but given the amount of screen time I suppose they had, they all felt kind of like caricatures a bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Almost like we know what's going on with them based on stereotypes, maybe?
Sure. I think the movie was trying to give us a lot of information and just showing us a lot rather than diving deep on a lot of things.
Yeah, because, here's the young pregnant homeless person. Here's the woman who can't be around her kids due to addiction, you know? We don't really go very deep into what's going on
It was
there.
all kind of cookie cutter, yeah.
We just know that baseline, and you're just left to infer based on that baseline.
Which is fine, I guess. It works
Yeah,
for the movie.
because the movie is about Rose Byrne.
Yeah, ultimately it's her story.
And I wouldn't have really enjoyed this being much longer. Now, it is based on a real woman. So I'm wondering if those characters maybe feel like such composites because they're combinations of multiple people that she met when she was
Sure.
staying there.
That makes sense, yeah. I'd be interested to learn more about this lady's actual story.
Yeah, I didn't see a Wikipedia page for her.
They show her and her daughter, the real people at the
And
end
the
of the
lawyer.
movie. And the lawyer, yeah, that's right. I think this is, it's sort of a feel-goody story, or at least showing how determination and goodwill can bring about positive results.
One thing I will say about the movie, I do think the daughter felt really shoehorned in.
A little bit, yeah.
We didn't really get a lot of her perspective.
Yeah.
I thought some of the text voiceover choices were a little silly
Oh, I get that. Some interesting choices in this.
because, we never really saw much of what her life is like outside of talking to her mom.
No father or ex-husband in the picture at all as well.
Yeah,
who the
I think
daughter's even
she
living with.
lives with her dad and his new wife or girlfriend or
Oh, yeah.
something, but we never really saw any of those interactions. How does she feel about that? I don't know if maybe this would have been stronger if we had gotten a scene or two at the beginning of the movie, or maybe a flashback of Rose Byrne with her daughter right at the tail end of when things were really bad before
Sure.
she got taken away. Maybe that would have added something to that connection, to that relationship for me.
Yeah, would
because
have added a nice wrinkle to the, motivations of our character.
Yeah, because Elsie Fisher is a great actor, but she didn't really have much to work with or do.
Just to react to a bunch of things. That's it.
Exactly. I don't know. Maybe they didn't want to go too deep into bad stuff that happened when the daughter was around because, as I've said before with biopics, sometimes they feel a little sanitized when the
Yeah.
person it's about is involved. And she was an executive producer along
That's
with the
right.
lawyer. But I at least don't think this movie was trying to say, look at this woman who has never made a mistake or
Does everything perfectly.
exactly. She wasn't portrayed as this just rosy Mary Sue individual.
They even show a little bit of that with the lawyer when they have the exchange and realize the lawyer had misfiled something that would have sped up her court case to get her car back.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
People are flawed. They're imperfect in this. And we see a lot of that kind of struggle and how that affects relationships.
Exactly. That's definitely a core theme of this movie. So I can appreciate that they kept that stuff in.
But yeah, Rose Byrne is top tier.
Always.
Dominic
Sessa
was really good, I thought. All the acting, I think, most of the acting was really good in this.
You leave Demi alone.
Their strength is with singing in this movie. No, it's all right. They probably had to do a bunch of ADR in post, probably.
They had like 2 scenes, so
That's okay.
it didn't taint the whole movie.
But aside
But
from a
it did
few-
make me laugh.
few standout, just kind of question marks here and there. I think, the movie was shot well. Everyone was doing really good acting.
It was competent, yeah.
This movie was very competent.
I'd like to learn more about the real story to get a better understanding of the people and events.
Yeah, it is one of those stories that if these really great actors were not in this movie, the story would feel pretty Lifetime.
Yes, I guess it's an inspirational movie. Is supposed to be, I guess. Like, that's who this audience is for.
Yeah, which those usually don't really grab my attention that much.
Like,
But
do I
I
want
would
to rewatch this now?
I wouldn't either, but I would say this one kept me engaged throughout the movie.
Yeah, it
I
did.
was more interested in this movie than I usually am.
It gets you
with these
invested,
things.
and you're rooting for the main character for sure.
Rose Byrne really does carry because she's essentially in every scene. She is so engaging. She keeps you hooked.
And is in all this makeup and wigs and stuff all kind of throughout.
The wig was terrible.
It wasn't great. Maybe that was the point.
The wig was bad.
It's not a bad movie. I'm going to give this an 81. Little extra pity point there.
A pity point.
Not a pity point. Extra credit. How about that?
It's for all the dogs.
It is. It is.
I'm going to give this a 75.
Yeah, kind of just, it's not bad. This movie wasn't my personal favorite of all time, but it might be someone's.
Yeah, if someone's interested in this story, I would never tell them not to watch this.
Yeah, the little guy kind of beating the big corporation on a matter of almost principle. I get it. I get it.
It's enjoyable in the moment. I probably won't be thinking about it in a few weeks, but
Watch it on a plane ride if you want.
oh yeah, this would be a
That's fine.
great plane movie. And our Rotten Tomatoes score,
What did the critics say?
77%.
Ooh, you're close.
Yeah, that's pretty close to my score, so I'm going to say that's worth the hype. That's worth a 77%.
Yeah. I would say the acting was especially Rose Byrne was the most impressive thing about the movie. But altogether, not bad at all.
Absolutely.
Worth the hype? Yes. What I would say, know ahead of time, am I going to put this on our shelf and rewatch it constantly?
No.
Is it... I don't know. If I had the option to rewatch this again, I don't think I would. Just because you get the story and that's kind of it. Rewatchability is always a factor.
I agree.
3 stars out of 5. All right, kid, what we got next?
Next, we're going back to the year 1990.
I didn't even exist then.
I didn't either. We're
Happier times. Go on.
So we watched the Best Picture winner of the 1990 crop of movies, Dances with Wolves.
Kevin Costner. And this was his directorial debut.
And he won Best Director at the Oscars as well.
You know, I can't say this movie didn't have success. I don't know why it had success, because I wasn't such a big fan.
I would say from a directorial standpoint, it looked very good. The cinematography was really great. This seems like a movie that got everyone really impressed in 1990 due to the sheer scale of
That's
what
true.
they were creating.
That's true. Because I got to tell you, the character of, he's just Kevin Costner. The whole time, he's just a goofball. And he's not even trying to be. He's just, we start out the movie with him fighting in the Civil War, thankfully on the Union side. But he starts riding his horse back and forth, just trying to get shot, because I think he's just kind of fed up with the whole war thing. And he's riding back and forth, eyes closed on this horse, arms held back, just perfect target. Everyone's yelling and shooting. It was just ridiculous and kind of just it was goofy. I was not sure what tone we were supposed to go for.
That was very goofy. I was laughing at that. I also laughed when he jumped out of the river with shaving cream Santa beard.
You can tell Kevin Costner thought he was just the biggest badass throughout this movie. On paper, it maybe reads that way, but in the film, he's just kind of lugging himself around, getting into odd situations. Hasn't a clue what's going on.
I hated the voiceovers. I know this is based on a book, so the book is probably told from that character's point of view, so that's why we have the voiceovers here. But I thought they were awkwardly performed.
Very.
Kevin Costner's Best Director nomination, I can understand. He won. I'm going to have to see the other nominees to be able to tell you that.
Maybe it was a weak year or something. No one had heard of a movie that was almost 3 hours before, maybe.
He beat Martin Scorsese for Goodfellas.
That's nuts.
I am still thinking about that restaurant scene. Martin Scorsese should have won Best Director that year. Absolutely.
He ever won Best Director?
He has. But his win, everyone said, was more of a career win. of like, oh, you should have one of these by now. Because usually when I hear people talk about Scorsese, they do talk about Goodfellas as his magnum opus. That's my opinion now that I've seen Goodfellas. I loved that movie.
Between the two, again, I'm so shocked that Dances with Wolves won Best Picture that year because I feel like when you're comparing the two, Goodfellas
characters are so much more fleshed out and detailed. And in Dances with Wolves, we're not really given much to work with.
I agree because so much of Dances with Wolves is Kevin Costner running around by himself in this little shack.
Yes, he's in the army and he's been transferred out west to the frontier in like the 60s or 70s. He's for some reason seen as a hero for his little stunt of stealing a horse and riding between the battle lines trying to get shot because I thought he had a death wish of some sort and
Thought so too.
Continued it throughout the story. I thought he kind of went out to this remote outpost out west of his choosing just to kind of be alone, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Because he's out in the frontier and Kevin Costner's like, I need to make my way out to this fort. The movie, this part starts off weird. You have him, the movie starts out, he's fighting in the Civil War. He gets on his horse and rides back and forth trying to get shot because he's just fed up with it. Then he's transferring out west. He meets the military, I don't know, commander of this little town or outpost, something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Who's crazy, I guess.
I
He
didn't
shoots himself as
understand.
Kevin Costner is leaving. We never talk about that. We never hear about that again.
He literally said, I just pissed my pants and you can't do anything about it.
And then Kevin
And
Costner
then
doesn't know how
shot
to react.
himself in the head.
Yeah, Kevin Costner's like, cool, so can I go on my assignment? Yeah. And then the commander guy just puts his revolver to his head and goes, the king is dead. Long live the king.
I didn't understand that at all.
Not at all. That must be a book thing.
His portion there in the book must be a couple chapters long with more lore.
Do you think they tried to be pretty faithful to this book, but you can't really do that with a character when you're trying to write his inner thoughts on screen? It doesn't work a lot of the time.
Well, when I was reading the Wikipedia page, which I like to do after I watch a movie,
Oh, absolutely. Got to make sense of this.
it seems like the guy who wrote this screenplay, I believe he won the Oscar for adapted screenplay. He also wrote the book,
Oh,
and he had written a screenplay for a movie that Kevin Costner was in.
okay.
He had the Dances with Wolves screenplay, and Kevin Costner said to him, if you really want to get that made, you make it a book first. And then the book gets popular, and then
Oh.
you're going to get the movie made.
Interesting. Was
So
the
it
book
was a
okay.
screenplay first, from my understanding.
Interesting. Well, still, I don't understand a lot of what the movie and characters like show us and what they're doing because it doesn't have payoff a lot of the times.
There is a version that is an hour longer.
Ew, this is almost 3 hours, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I refuse to watch the extended cut. No, we watched the one that was theatrically released
2
in
hours
1990.
I could cut this down to probably 30 minutes easy with
There
commercial breaks.
were so many lingering, staring out at something shots, just...
And it's supposed to be the character.
Especially Kevin Costner, he is enamored with the frontier and the wilderness and everything. That's fine. It's at the expense of us as the audience because it's just Kevin Costner and some other characters just kind of standing around a lot of times and doing nothing.
Yeah, and then Kevin Costner has two animal friends.
Yes, he has
Cisco
Cisco
the
horse, who
horse.
just is the horse he happened to steal when he's in that Civil War battle and is riding back and forth. He gets to keep it.
And then Two Socks, the wolf.
Yes, as he's hanging out at his military outpost alone, a wolf decides to
Say hi and befriend him. Side note, the guy who takes Kevin Costner out on this wagon to this like remote military outpost, I thought they were like stopping over because the fort, quote unquote, that they say he's staying at is 2 little huts.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not a fort.
It is not a fort.
If it is, that's the worst fort I've ever seen. I thought they stopped somewhere that was like abandoned due to like native attacks or something like that, and he just decided to stay there because the wagon driver, he gets killed off later. It just kind of confused me at times where we were going, you know?
Yeah, and then the Sioux tribe is introduced.
They start making contact, yeah.
The one who Kevin Costner really becomes friends with is played by Graham Greene, who I really liked him. He was great in The Lowdown and Reservation Dogs.
A lot of other things, yes.
He got an Oscar nomination for this. I think that's cool.
Their relationship really, it's a leap, but it sort of reminded me of some scenes in the show Vikings. Did you ever watch that?
I never watched Vikings.
You get these two inquisitive guys from completely different cultures, different languages and everything meeting each other. And instead of driving each other away, they try to learn more about each other. I found that interesting.
Yeah, I did like their relationship dynamic, I suppose. I will say this movie was not as racist as I was expecting it to be.
Actually, very surprising.
When we first see Kevin Costner's love interest, I saw her and I thought she was supposed to be native based on the way that she had dressed, and based on the year, I assumed they just decided to cast a white woman as a native. That was not the case. She was canonically white, so I forgive them.
Taken in by the tribe, I guess.
But I was really aghast for a little while before they explained that.
And it's this guy whose name even escapes me. I'm not great with names in movies. I just remember character faces. It's Kevin Costner and what's her name?
Stands with Fist.
Stands with Fist is her name, and she is a recently widowed member of the tribe, I believe. And of course, you were thinking, well, Kevin Costner doesn't have the balls to actually cast his love interest as a real native woman. They have this gal shoehorned in, but they really hit the fast forward button on getting them two together as love interests, I feel like.
Yeah, because it's established when he first comes across her, she has blood all over her. I'd assumed she was having a medical predicament.
Yeah, I thought she was trying to kill herself.
And I guess what was happening was it wasn't her blood. Her husband was killed.
Yeah, that had just happened.
Didn't really explain why. Was it the Pawnee tribe
Maybe.
who they were beefing with? I don't know.
Killed in battle or something.
But yeah, she was really upset in her first scene. And then she just seems to forget about him. We don't learn anything about her husband. I don't even think we know his name.
Not much about her either.
And then her husband's best friend is the guy who was a little more apprehensive of Kevin Costner, but then throughout the movie decides, oh, well, we're best friends now because that other guy was my best friend and he was taken out of the world because the world was going to bring you here, which is, I thought that was
some gymnastics.
I thought that was awful. It's like, oh yes, this random man had to die just so you could all experience Kevin Costner.
They make Kevin Costner out to be this sort of golden boy who they accept into the tribe pretty eagerly. He hooks up with, Stands with Fist pretty soon.
Who is essentially Graham Greene's adopted daughter.
Yeah, that's right. That's weird. And there's a few instances of the scene, and we've covered two of them, where it's throughout the movie, they have especially just lines of dialogue or stunts or something that just are so goofy and over the top, it takes me right out of it. Starting with where at the beginning of the movie, Kevin Costner, I think in my memory, he's shirtless, because why not? But I think he actually had clothes on. He's riding back and forth, eyes closed, arms outstretched, the whole thing looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
A little bit later in the movie, he's arrived at his outpost. He's alone. He's like bathing in the creek or something, trying to shave, and he hears people keep trying to steal his horse. So we get a scene of Kevin Costner. Oh, he's got a big old mullet and the dumbest mustache.
Oh, that's when he's
ever.
chasing the little kids, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
So he's like running out like that, chasing children.
He's got a pistol in one hand, and he's jumping. You see him hurtling through like the reeds of the creek, shaving cream all over his face, just leaps into the water. The whole thing just looks ridiculous. And then the worst delivered bit of dialogue in the movie is from Stands with Fist, unfortunately, but the context being everyone thinks her and Kevin Costner need a hookup, but she's like, no, I'm in my mourning period, for my husband who just died. Mm-hmm. But she goes up to Kevin Costner and goes, I'm in mourning, and then smooches him. I did not get that at all. I'm like, what?
Her character was very contrived.
I thought she was going to reject him by saying, no, I'm in mourning. I don't want to be with you, something like that. But no.
Yeah, this is another case of a man definitely wrote that woman.
I don't want to say Kevin Costner was 100% white savior-ing all over the place. 50%.
I think Kevin Costner had good intentions with this movie.
Yeah.
And in the year 1990, this probably was really cool in terms of
Yeah.
representation and how
He's just a goofball.
Native Americans were being portrayed in a movie like this, because of course there's so many westerns and movies set in this time period where the Native Americans are the antagonist who are just there to, you know, steal all the white people's stuff and kill them, even though, you know, the white people are the ones doing the stealing.
And the genociding. But no, the big overarching theme of this story is the expansion of, I guess, kind of the American frontier, or I guess the reduction of the frontier and the expansion of more settled populations coming west.
The movie does make it clear that that's a bad thing.
Yes.
So I can appreciate that. But I guess I do find it interesting that one of the big antagonistic forces in this movie was the Pawnee tribe.
The enemy tribe.
They were just seen as the violent, brutal guys who are going to come in and kill everyone and take everything. Now, I'm not educated enough in the Sioux tribe,
Oh, I have no
Pawnee
idea.
tribe
Yeah.
relationship. So maybe they really did have a relationship like that, but I did think it was interesting that even still in this movie, one of our antagonists had to be a native tribe.
Yes. It kind of reminded me of The Last of the Mohicans. Have you seen that movie?
No.
They have sort of your friendly tribe and then your quote unquote enemy tribe. And the enemy tribe is always the over the top, kind of like violent one. It's these guys who are killing the wagon driver, the guy who dropped off Kevin Costner at the fort.
And then they had the face paint.
Yeah, lots of like reds and like blood colors and everything.
Yeah, it was very harsh makeup. And I'm not educated in it. Maybe that is an actual like historical
Maybe.
makeup
Maybe.
thing that they did.
I
but
wouldn't be shocked.
to me, just watching that, it seemed like that was done to make these people look scary.
Yes.
And yeah, they were really just portrayed as not even really people, just this
Enemies.
violent enemy force.
Yeah.
And then our other antagonistic force is, of course, the American soldiers who are
Yes.
coming in and, you know, the people who are coming and taking this land and taking the buffalo and just not being respectful.
Yes, they're shown poachers come in and kill a lot of the buffalo. The soldiers they kill both of our animal friends.
Which we determined the movie decided to kill both of the animal friends because...
So it was clear.
Yeah, so it was clear that, oh, these white dudes are the villains.
Who we should be rooting for. Yes, we're rooting for the Sioux tribe and Kevin Costner.
Because the target audience of this feels like a middle-aged white dude, and especially in 1990.
Oh, I'm sure.
Not to generalize, but I do feel like there were a lot of people watching this movie who maybe if the white dudes hadn't killed both of the friendly animals wouldn't have been that enthusiastic when those people ended up getting killed in self-defense by the
Yes.
Sioux tribe.
Absolutely. I don't know, maybe in 1990 everyone was just dripping from Kevin Costner shirtless running all over the place.
Maybe. Like we said, we weren't alive in 1990, so I can't say what the opinions on Kevin Costner were. I certainly know what the opinions on Kevin Costner are now.
Yeah. I guess going over it like this, I understand a little bit more why this movie did as well as it did at that time. 36 years later, I see this movie and like it's too long. The story's kind of goofy and doesn't make a lot of sense. It's just not very refined, or as refined to what I'm used to. I don't think I would watch this again.
Oh, I would never watch this again. It's too long.
This beat Goodfellas is beyond me.
Goodfellas is leaps and bounds better than this movie.
Rewatchability, man.
And looking at the Best Picture nominees, I would pick Ghost over this as well.
Yeah, honestly. I've seen Goodfellas probably at least half a dozen times, if not more, over my life. It's a good movie.
It's a great
I don't want to
movie.
watch Dances with Wolves again.
And let me tell
Oh
you,
yeah, that's his native name, by the way.
going into Goodfellas, I was expecting to hate it because it's one of those movies that I think a certain type of macho man film bro really, really loves, and that biased me a little bit. But then I watched the movie and I love Goodfellas. This movie, I definitely went in thinking I wasn't going to enjoy it because I'm not a Western fan, I'm not a Kevin Costner fan, and I'm not a 3-hour movie fan. And in this case, I was correct.
Yes.
Because Goodfellas is a pretty long movie as well.
It is, but
I
it
think
keeps
it has
you
a
engaged.
similar runtime, but yeah, I wasn't bored.
It keeps you drawn in because the characters actually have stuff to do. What was Kevin Costner's deal? Like, if he had not encountered the tribe out there, was he just going to sit around and kill himself eventually? I don't know what our goals were.
He was waiting for the soldiers to show up. He was essentially there manning the post and then waiting for them to come relieve him, I guess.
Right.
So that's why the soldiers ended up there at the end of the movie. Of course, they end up there at the most inconvenient time.
I do not get all the hype of this movie. I would say it is, in fact, not worth the hype.
You don't even know the Rotten Tomatoes score yet.
What we got? I'm going to say, let me guess. If I had to be generous, I'm going to give this movie... It was competently made. Like, some of the shots and everything. I'm going to give this movie a very generous 55%.
I was going to give it a 55% too. I bet my parents love this movie.
But my parents love this movie too. We're harmonizing now. No, we can pick out the filth when we see it.
So this actually has the same critics and audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
This is going to make me upset, isn't it?
87%.
Fuck off. No.
That's not worth the hype.
I'm sure the
that's not worth
Letterboxd.
the hype, no.
I'm sure the Letterboxd comments are just absolutely horny over this movie, as they always are. That's okay. That explains a little bit of it, but 87?
87.
No.
I think people who like Westerns.
Yeah, people
this
like to
really
jack off
appeals
all
to
over
them.
Westerns.
And you know what? I guess in terms of themes or values,
Sure.
if there's someone who just really likes a macho man Western movie and then they see this, it's probably going to give them a better perspective as opposed to a worse perspective.
Sure. I get that. I guess
Oh, I can at least realize that.
portraying this time on the frontier and the peoples and kind of crisscrossing of cultures and everything going on, and expansionist kind of policies and militaristic attitudes, very important to go over and make people aware of. Don't get me wrong. I think there are much more competent resources available if you're, interested in the history of the American Western frontier and the Sioux tribe. This is not the place to start.
No.
But yeah, not worth the hype. I'd rather look at a pretty screensaver than watch this for 3 hours again.
Yeah, I got quite bored.
But that's just my opinion.
Shouldn't have won Best Picture.
No. Can we retroactively revoke Oscars?
I wish.
We're doing it. Starting with Dances with Wolves. Don't know who. Maybe this is everyone else was thought Goodfellas was going to win and just didn't bother voting, maybe? I don't even know, man.
Like I said, I think the scale of this movie is what people were really impressed by in 1990. Whereas Goodfellas,
timeless.
It's not these sprawling landscapes, but I always just think of that tracking shot in the restaurant. That is something that you're just doing something really cool with a camera. You're not putting on this big, giant, however many hundreds of people fight scenes, you know?
Right. But yeah, Dances with Wolves, solid meh.
I didn't like it.
Don't watch it on a plane. Unless you want to sleep. All right, finish us up.
So the last movie we watched, and I'm going to say this one was my favorite of the week. We watched Misery.
Yes.
Directed by Rob Reiner.
It's a classic.
I think this might be the first time I've ever sat down and fully watched one of Rob Reiner's movies.
Okay.
He's made so many classic movies that I've definitely seen scenes or bits and pieces on TV.
Sure.
But as far as sitting down and watching it, this was the first one. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's this one.
I thought I watched this movie through at some point before. I've definitely seen the infamous leg scene. I did not recall a lot, so I was glad we were able to go back and rewatch this because it's a fun movie. Kathy Bates is at her best.
Kathy Bates deserved that Oscar.
No doubt.
That is such a cool win.
She was able to pull off the happy and joyful to the just on a snap, dark, demented, almost, killer kind of stare at you, which I guess they do show she is a serial killer, more or less.
And she did it so seamlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant performance. I thought James Caan was really good too.
Yes, he kind of reminded me of his same character in Elf a little bit. How old was Kathy Bates? She was
70 something?
Yeah, she was only in her 30s doing this. 40s, 41. Yeah, she looked just like a baby. I'm too used to Matlock.
Yeah, love some Matlock.
Yeah, her and James Caan were great. I liked the little sheriff husband and wife duo going around looking for James Caan.
As you mentioned, this is one of the few movies that we've seen where when someone gets shot, it actually looks like they were shot.
Absolutely. I feel like we've seen a couple movies even recently where someone gets blasted by a shotgun and then they go hurtling out a window or a door or something like that. Don't you pull that grenade pin out with your teeth, Michael B. Jordan. Oh, he did. Worst movie of the year. I will never get over that. But no. I thought this movie, even though it's supposed to take place over a matter of maybe weeks or months, something like that, it doesn't drag. It is, of course, Kathy Bates at her best. And it's really you almost get a lighter tone in some areas, but you are reminded quite a few times, no, this is would you call this a horror movie?
Yes.
Yes, good. I thought all the makeup work of the injuries and prosthetics on James Caan, I mean, even the prosthetic stuff for smashing his legs, great.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Gets you squeamish every time.
I liked when Kathy Bates hit her head on the typewriter. You could tell they had made a mold dummy of her head so that they could really smash it on there. I thought cool, that had a really visceral effect. The effects were great. Rob Reiner's direction, really top notch.
Very.
He had some cool shots going on. There was one shot that you brought it up while we were watching the movie where there's almost this crane maybe was used to wrap the camera around this car.
We're showing a perspective of Kathy Bates driving. It's from the front perspective. So we see her in the car and the camera was almost on the hood, but then it swivels around as she's looking at something or getting out, something like that. I thought the technical achievements on this movie were really well done.
Well, and then something like that too, it really builds suspense and tension. This movie was so good at that, which I think is a real feat because a lot of the setting of the movie, it's not dark and dour. It's snowing. It's very bright. Her house feels almost like someone's grandmother's house.
It does.
With trinkets and bright colors and stuff, but there's something underneath that's unsettling about it.
And then we get the best character of all, Misery.
Misery the pig.
The pig.
I've never read the book, but I'm convinced she has that pig to feed bodies to.
Oh, absolutely. And what a cutie Misery is.
Because there was a lot of stuff that was maybe touched on, or there was an Easter egg perhaps of in the movie that I thought that's probably a thing in the book.
Yeah, there's probably lots of Easter eggs. We should watch like a breakdown or like review video of Misery. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. I also think it can take a lot to keep an audience so engaged when the movie is mostly set in one location. It's even mostly set in one room.
Yeah, just a couple rooms, really.
And there's obviously more actors in the movie, but it's essentially just two people.
I was thinking that this would be a good stage production.
It would, yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if there has been a stage production of Misery before.
It was interesting, all the different ways that as he's sort of immobilized, James Caan is trying to figure out ways to undermine Kathy Bates. I thought it was really interesting. He was saving his pain pills and breaking them open and trying to spike her drink to get her either killed or incapacitated. When he cuts a hole in the mattress and there's stuffing pills in there and like hides a knife in there, all sorts of stuff. Very creative.
I liked when he was working on lifting the typewriter.
Yes, to build up some upper body strength so he could bonk her with it.
Yeah.
Not bad. Yes, this movie is a classic for a reason. Definitely the standout of this week.
It's also a plot line that it probably couldn't be made in a modern era with the technology we have and phones and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
true. That's true.
I always find stuff like that to be interesting.
I agree. I thought it was funny when James Caan, he gets out of the room for the first time and he goes to the phone, the landline, and it's just like a hollowed out phone receiver to kind of maybe deceive some people, something like that. I guess is that supposed to be Kathy Bates's house, or maybe she killed the people that lived there and moved in? I thought she actually lived there.
Because someone says, or I think it's the sheriff, he says, oh, that's the Wilkes farm.
Okay.
So it was her house, but
Maybe a family.
that was giving, she probably has that there because there's probably not even a phone at her house, but having a phone makes it look more normal.
Sure.
And she wants to make her house look very normal, how she thinks it's supposed to look.
Yeah. I thought Kathy Bates did a great job of portraying a, let's say, overzealous fangirl.
She really did. She was playing almost like this lovesick schoolgirl crush. I did think at one point while watching the movie, if this whole thing was set from her perspective, this would probably be playing out as a rom-com.
Really, it would, yeah. We almost get into that kind of territory a few times, but Rob Reiner does a great job of pulling us right back into reality.
Exactly.
It reminds us of the actual circumstances that James Caan's character is in.
100%. And I loved every time James Caan would put on that charming smile and he would try to really, butter her up.
Play along, yeah. They had good chemistry.
They did.
For sure.
They worked very well together.
And always the part where she's got the block of wood between his legs, the prosthetic work on that was really well done. It was acted very well.
Yeah, it's coming, but still it makes you like
And that
flinch.
scene has just been immortalized,
Absolutely.
But yeah, love this movie. Worth the hype. Rewatchable. It's checking all the boxes.
I agree. I'm going to give Misery a 93%.
Ooh, not bad. Thumbs up, worth the hype. I'm going to go 89%.
And on Rotten Tomatoes,
What do we got?
Misery has an 86%.
A little bit lower than I thought.
Dances with Wolves has 1 percentage point more than Misery.
That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. Misery's worth the hype 100%. In fact, Misery deserves more hype than an 86%. Should be in the 90s.
Maybe people in the 1990s saw Kevin Costner and they said, look, he's as crazy and ridiculous as all of us.
Maybe.
That's why folk like it. No, I would put that at the bottom of my list for this week.
Yeah, Dances with Wolves is at the bottom, Toe is in the middle, Misery's on top.
Absolutely. Yeah, not a bad week. We got some variety here, definitely, which I appreciate.
I was not happy to watch Dances with Wolves.
I had my misgivings going in because I think I've watched like a review of that historical period before that it covers, but not the movie itself. And I'm glad that it is out of the way. I know, like, hey, not all Oscar-winning movies are my favorite.
I'm at least glad to know it wasn't as racist as I assumed it was going to be.
That's always a plus. And with that,
That was our week.
not a bad one.
Yeah, so we'll come back next week with some more movies. We'll see how many. At least 3.
We'll challenge y'all. If you got a free, I don't know, it's a 3-hour movie, so spread it out over a week. Watch Dances with Wolves.
Don't.
And then watch Goodfellas. And tell me which one you think should have won the Oscar.
The answer is obvious. The answer is clear.
I thought so as well, but apparently the internet and Rotten Tomatoes is telling me I'm crazy. True, but that doesn't mean I like it.
Has to have a better Rotten Tomatoes score than Dances with Wolves. I know we've looked at it before, but I forgot what it was.
It beat Misery. Are you kidding me?
It beat Misery by 1%.
I think I could take Kevin Costner in a fight. Let's do it.
Do you mean like now Kevin Costner?
Oh, yeah,
or
absolutely.
Dances with Wolves Kevin Costner?
Either, but
Goodfellas has a higher Rotten Tomatoes score. It has a 93%.
I wanted to rip off that mustache every time I saw it.
Oh, it was awful. When he came on and he said, I shaved it, we were ecstatic.
He's probably a nice man in real life. I don't know.
Kevin Costner?
I don't know.
No.
I've never met him.
No.
He's just the guy who was trying to use the force underneath that bridge to stop the tornado, and he was so powerful he was able to stop Superman in his tracks.
That's true.
But his greatest weakness, tornadoes. And with that, couple you can watch, maybe 1 or 2 that you don't want to watch. That's what we're here for.
Exactly. All right.
So long, y'all.
Goodbye.